Welcome to the grow room. It is an absolute jungle in here, but I will take you around and show you what I do have going on in here. So I thought I would give you some updates for my farm, homestead, whatever. So this past week, I actually have been planting out in my greenhouse. I have been preparing and starting new seeds. I've been potting up some stuff, and I've also put some hatching eggs into the incubator. So I was able to source some really beautiful hatching eggs. My goal for my homestead is, well, I do sell eggs. And so my goal for the homestead next year is to have an ultimate bouquet of egg colors so that when people buy their rainbow eggs from the Hotchkiss Flower Farm, they're able to open it up and be able to have all of these beautiful colors. And so I brought in some uh, different types of chicken eggs that I'm able to incubate, and then hopefully next year we'll have those crossed and make some really interesting colored eggs. The goal to be every single egg in the carton is a different color. That would be ideal, but we may not be there yet. That might be a couple years away. But anyway, I did source these eggs locally. There is a little hatchery called Hidden Nook Hatchery in Grimshaw, Alberta, and she has purebred birds. It was really easy to deal with her. She has a lot of really cute little birds. She shares a lot of stuff on Facebook and little updates on her farm, and she has really nice little cute little business. And so if you are in the market for hatching eggs in northern Alberta, I do recommend you go check out her page and give her a call. She has a lot of really nice birds available for like hatched, but she also has hatching eggs available as well. So be sure to check her out on Facebook. My cucumbers have been doing really well. They have some issues going on with them, and I'll show you. But they've been growing since December. I planted them in December. They've been producing lots of fruit, and I think I was planning to try to put these into the greenhouse, but I think I'm going to just let them kind of finish their cycle and discard these plants because they're tired. I mean, it was very hard on them to grow inside with this grow light here, and they produced a lot of food for us, so I'm really happy with that. So one of the things I would like to update is the soil products that I've been using. I have been doing some soil blocking. Now in Canada, I haven't really found a really great soil block blend that is pre-made for doing the 3/4 for these guys. For these 3/4 inch soil blocks, I haven't really found a pre-mixed product that is blended enough that I can start, say, lettuce or start some sort of a seedling in it that I wouldn't have to heavily feed and be really overly concerned with. Um, the 3/4 inch soil blocks tend to run out of nutrients with these heavy feeder plants, and so you have to be on your game so that you don't miss a feeding with them, or because then like you're setting your plants back. You want them to be on track to fast production on a farm like what I have. And so when you're racing the clock, it works really great to have a balanced soil blend that can sustain those seedlings without having to worry about strict seedling fertilizing schedules when you're early in the season. So I found that this organic blend plus prime organic plus the Prime Organic Plus soil blend that I have on my website and I get from Annalita is amazing for soil blocking. I'll show you the results, but I found that the things like lettuce, sometimes if you're not on your game, or stock, if you're not on your game, you do have to fertilize them heavily because they use up the nutrients that are in that soil. And then if you're not able to plant them out early enough, you begin to run into some deficiencies and you start to see that. Same with like things that typically don't usually require a lot of feeding, like statice, when you get those plants a little bit bigger, sometimes they do start to show some stress and some wear, and you do have to hit them with some fertilizer. And so if you're keeping them in longer than you intend to, that can be a real problem because it sets you back weeks on your harvest time. So I found this product to be great. It holds together beautifully, and my seedlings, I mean, they germinated well. They're doing great. Even the ones that were a little bit behind, they've caught up since, and I have fertilized one time. No, two times since I did the video, but I fertilized them two times. I think I said one in the highlight, but I did give them a small dose because I did notice them getting a little bit deficient, but I didn't give them very much. So this is the second dose of a very light feeding. So I did give them some worm castings as well. Worm casting tea, it's like an extract. I also sell that. So they are doing great. They are in the soil blocks about 10 days longer than I intended them to be. So for 10 days, that 3/4 inch soil block is holding up very well. I'm very pleased with it. And I'll show you the results. But so some other things too, I planted out some more. Well, yesterday I planted out some more of my anemones, and I have more anemones than I have space for. So I'm going to have to reconfigure my plans in the greenhouse and make some new beds up. Today is the day I'm hoping to start the greenhouse. I did want to tell you about a company in Canada. Now, okay, these guys here. So in Canada, it is really, really challenging to get good quality stuff that is really, it's really expensive sometimes. So for example, I've wanted a green stock for years, and I've wanted Bootstrap Farmer trays because let's face it, these things are like, they're gonna last. But it's so expensive in Canada. You can't source them anywhere and find them, and importing them is ridiculous. So I found a company that I absolutely love. It is called Indoor Farmer, and they are in Ontario. And I ordered myself a green stock when they had the green stock sale. I actually ended up with two. Funny story. I ordered one, and then I realized I should put the address to my P.O. box, which they said on the website, no P.O. boxes, only, physical addresses. And so I emailed them because they had messaged me before about it for other things, actually, these trays. They asked for my physical address. So I messaged them back and give it to them that time. And I knew better, but I forgot. So anyway, long story shorter, I actually messaged them and let them change my address that I put on there and let them know because I knew it was going to be too expensive for them to send a green stock to my P.O. box through Canada Post. So they could send it as a courier. Turns out they sent me two. One I paid for and one I didn't. So I phoned them up, and they were kind of surprised that I was being very honest. And I ended up paying for the second one that came because honesty is important to me. And I just could not, I would never rip off a company for a green stock or anything else. It's really important to be honest and open about that. So anyway, I ended up paying for it instead of sending it back because it was going to cost them a bunch of money. I wasn't planning to order one right now, but I was planning to order a green stock in the future. But they said, hey, they would give me the second green stock at the sale price. So I'm like, okay, it's here. I don't have to wait for it. So I sent them the money for the second green stock. So I have two green stocks now that I need to find room for in my greenhouse, which I was hoping to put them in my cold frame, but I need my cold frame for other things. So plans just kind of like went all over the place, and I'll have to redo it. But anyway, these trays came from that Indoor Farmer, and the reason I like these trays is because I can bottom water. When you get the other trays that are higher, and then you put the like the cell pack or the cell trays in your in here. They don't touch the bottom, and then you have problems with watering. I like these shallow trays because I can see in there, because the tray, let's see if I can find one. Right here. Found one. So right here is what I'm talking about. When you put these trays in here, you can still see in there, and you can just lift it slightly to water them, and they're all it's all touching the bottom to bottom water. When you have those taller ones, it gets hung up on the lip of these trays, and then they don't get the water, and some dry out and some stay wet because it'll sag in the middle like so, and I want them to be flat. So that's why I like these, because I bottom water my seedlings, and that's really important that for me be able to have trays that I can set these seedlings in. So that's why I ordered them, and they were really actually very much comparable to the other flimsy, crappy trays that you can get. So I'm very happy with that company, and I will post the link down in the comments to where you can find that company and order if you're in Canada. So let's take a look in the grow room. This year I started my seedlings using an Annalita soil blend product called Prime Organic Blend Plus, which is an organic worm casting compost based type of potting mix soil that I've started using that throughout my whole farm, and I really do like the results. However, I do want to give some insight of what I did find. As you can see, these guys are a little bit nutrient deficient because they are extremely heavy feeders. So I've had these guys in these teeny tiny 3/4 inch blocks. Now, I can't remember the date here when I started them. I'm actually gonna look that up and see. We'll just take a quick gander here at my book. I started stock on the 11th of February. So these were all started on February 11th. And today is the 7th of March. So they're doing really, really well. As you can see, some of them are quite big already. I do want to pick this guy up, but I just watered them. So I did give them some fish emulsion. But as you can see, they're doing very well. I did give them a fish emulsion because these little 3/4 inch blocks are just not enough nutrients for these plants, because they grow so quickly, and because they're really heavy feeders. So I'm just gonna pop that right on. And then these guys are gonna be going out, being planted in my greenhouse here very, very soon in the ground. So I'm not leaving them in here much longer. I'm not potting them up. I just wanted to make sure to get them fed with some fish emulsion to give them a little bit more nutrients and like give them a little bit more food. But they did really well. They held up very well in these soil blocks. I'm really happy with the germination. They're very uniform plants. There's different varieties of, so they're different sizes, but the ones that are like a single type, they're all very uniform. I had sown many of them with 2 seedlings, so I really like this soil for a soil blocking mix to use for stock. And I'll show you some other results from this soil blend. Editing Christy here. I meant to tell you that if you are wondering about this soil product, where to get it, more information about it, you can actually find the link to it in my website. I will post that down below for you. I have lots of information on where or what product I use, so that you can kind of reference, and as I'm growing you can see that, see my results. But if you're looking for information, it's on there. And if you are in, local to me, make sure you check out what I have available as well. And or if you do contact the company, make sure you let them know that I said hi and that you learned about them from me. Now these are Status and White Sage. And the White Sage I got on Etsy. So I'm pretty sure the seeds were shit, but the rest of them look great. These were 2-year-old, and some of these status seeds were 3-year-old seeds, because my William Dam seeds order that I put in early January still isn't here, unfortunately. So I had to use some of my old stock. And these guys, they had, you know, some of them didn't germinate well, but a lot of them did really great. And for the most part, by this phase in soil blocking, I have a lot more bronzing kind of thing, or nutrient deficiencies, and these guys look really good. I'm hoping to be able to get these into a bed by next week. We have some nice temperatures, and I'm hoping to get them outside planted so we can get some early status off of these. But I'm happy with the results. They do like to dry out a little bit more. I'm gonna see if I can pop one up. I just watered these guys as well. This one doesn't have one in it, so I'm gonna see if I can pop this guy up here. Ugh, it's hard to get them. I shouldn't have watered them. I should have showed you before, but they're doing really well. Since these guys are not really heavy feeders, I mean, these have been in here for a while. I haven't really fed them. I've been letting them dry out quite a bit. And there's only certain varieties that seem to have a little bit more of this color where they're showing some nutrient deficiencies. So I did give them a little drink with some fish emulsion. That should perk them right up, just a tiny bit. And I'm happy with it. And I need to restart my white sage. I was hoping to do smudge bundles this year, but that's kind of a real big disappointment that I only had one germinate out of all of those seeds. So we will try again. And here's an update on the eucalyptus that I had used the Adelita products with. Some of them, they weren't getting much water, and they got a little bit dried out. I like to let them dry down before I water them. And some of them, I had some issues with my trays. And some of them are showing some signs of stress, so I'm not sure what's going on. But one of the things that I'm not happy about this year with the eucalyptus is some of the seeds are not true to the variety. And I'm noticing that quite a bit this year, that we're getting other, you know, they're wild collected. So eucalyptus sometimes is not exactly what it is you plant, because they do wild source the seeds. They're never guaranteed to be true to the variety. And so I'm seeing a lot of throwbacks to different varieties than what I've planted, which is fine. I can still use them, but my florists may not want these specific ones. They still smell good, but anyway, I don't think this product works the best for eucalyptus. I think I need to find a different blend of product. I'm not sure if it's the moisture. I'm not sure if it's too nutrient dense for them at first. I'm not sure what's going on, but maybe it's just the eucalyptus or what I'm doing wrong. I'm not sure, but for what it is, these are doing okay. They're not perfect, but they're doing pretty good. So I think there's room for improving them though, and I'll just keep working at it. So these soil blocks, these guys here, this is Fast and Furious lettuce. I get this stuff from West Coast Seed. I'm just gonna try to lift this. I want to put, I'm actually not gonna mess with it. There is, I think, 60 lettuce plants right here. And these are gonna be going into my green stock that I'm going to be assembling in my greenhouse, hopefully today. And then I also planted some romaine lettuce for lettuce. It had great germination, and I haven't really had to fertilize these, or I haven't fertilized these. They're doing great with just on their own with what nutrients are available in these 3/4 inch blocks. Now this is a pelleted seed. I had these pelleted seeds, and I just wanted to see if I could get them to germinate, and they're duds. So I'm going to throw that packet out. I see I have one little thing here, but I don't think that's from those. Anyway, the pelleted seeds for lettuce, the seeds were no good. And these guys here are peppers. I had started, I went through all of my peppers to see which ones that were basically the ones that I wanted to use up. I used up all my packets, and so I didn't order actually any of these peppers. I should have, but the problem of it is that I had it split on a heat mat. I had one side of this tray on a heat mat, and then this side wasn't on a heat mat. And you can see there's a difference in the growth. It's like, like that. So it's grower error, but the germination for these was pretty good. Like these jalapenos, they're looking okay, but they are starting to show that they need some food, and they're a little dry. But compared to the lettuce, like the peppers are a little bit more heavy feeders than this lettuce variety that particularly. So I will give these guys a little shot of food. These black Hungarian peppers, they just seem to do better where they had more warmth than and so they germinated faster. That's why there's a size difference. And you know, the snowball peppers, they're all pretty uniform. They don't care about the temperature. But there was the seeds that I had, some of these seeds were 4 years old on these peppers, and they did really great. Even these, what is this kind here? New Ace. So I had great, these were probably last year's seeds, the New Ace ones, and they did great. Pretty uniform. These are like a bell pepper, but I do see that they are showing signs that they need some food. So I will probably either pot them up today or get them moved out of this tray, since I'm going to be planting the lettuce. But I'm happy with these soil blocks. They're doing great. They're holding, you know, when it comes to having enough nutrients to get these seedlings started right, I think it's a great mix, and I'm very happy with it. These ones here, these Hungarian hot wax peppers, these seeds are about 6 years old. I found an old packet of them, and the packet had been moist. Like, I wasn't sure if they would germinate at all. That's why I don't have very many of them. I actually ended up, I think, tossing it because I kind of figured they weren't very good. But the seeds themselves were kind of compromised because there was moisture on the pack. And so I wasn't expecting any to germinate. So the fact that I have like 6 plants out of there is very exciting. It's promising to see that the potential of growing organic and seeing how these seedlings are getting a healthy start. I'm really looking forward to using more of this product and seeing how I can push the boundaries with it. So I have a couple anemones here that are left. I did some potting up on some of our Lisianthus yesterday. I potted out of this tray into here, and I kind of combined them. I have this tray of Lisianthus that is doing horrible. I don't know why, but it's not doing very good. Up here we have some shoddy germination going on with some older seeds, but the new seeds did great. So this is some pansies and violas here. I just gave them a drink. I'm going to be potting these guys up here very, very soon. They're looking really good. I'm hoping to do a Mother's Day project with these guys, and I was hoping to actually have Easter flowers for those. These guys, they're in a little bit of a transplant shock because I had to get a little rough with them, but these were transplanted yesterday. They're snapdragons. They're the Legend Pink ones. And then these guys are also snapdragons that I separated some of them yesterday, but some of these are going to be going out into my greenhouse here for some early spring blooms. So I'm really excited to get those planted. Let's see what else we have. We have tower gardens here. I did some replanting on some of them because we had sold so much of the lettuce. I needed to get a fresh flush going. Here we have my soil blocks of stock. There's stock here, which is doing great. They're going to be getting planted out here very soon. I just fertilized them. They needed some emulsion, fish emulsion, so I gave them a shot of that. I also have some status here, and back there is my one little Etsy seed white sage, which I had bad seeds, clearly. Okay, so I have my soil blocks down here as well. These are some, I had some trouble with getting my, what do you call them? Foxglove to germinate. So I decided to put them in packets with paper towel, and then I just pulled them out and put them in here, and some of them they didn't really do well, and then I accidentally let this get way too dry. So I did have some survive, which is good, but yeah, not the best. And then I have these are ranunculus down here, and then I have some more eucalyptus, and back there we have more snapdragons. And then these are anemone and ranunculus that are going to be getting planted out really soon into the greenhouse. And then up here I just put these sunflowers on a heat mat up here. These are for early spring flowers. They're going to be planted into the greenhouse. And then I have a bunch of my cool season flowers here that were not germinating well. I did put them on the heat mat to see if that would help, but I don't know what's going on with them. My cucumber, I got some disease in here on my cucumber, but that's okay. I don't know what it is, but it is definitely it's my growing error of what's going on with it, but it is still producing fruit. We have two small, very small little cucumbers here. They'll be big soon. And then I have one of my stock is blooming back in there. So that's kind of nice. This is another stock plant. Looks like it's gonna be blooming soon. I have a zucchini growing in that pot. So this plant had some disease issues, and I had it touching this plant, so it does look like it has some powdery mildew or something. And one of the things that is causing that is because I had brought in some plastic pots that I didn't wash very well, and I was handling those they were known pots that did have plants that had disease in them. And then I was handling these guys, and then it got really dry in here and hot, and so the plants suffered a little bit, and they ended up it was just the perfect mix of my error, basically. So there's a million things of why they did that, but they've been producing, let me tell you. And this is my scrap stuff. Anytime I'm taking something out, I just pop it in here. I got all kinds of things growing here. This is an onion. I throw it in there. It's my scrap pile thing. But yeah, that's basically my jungle. Look at this tower. It grows so quickly. And look at this kale. I've been enjoying fresh kale. So good. I like it. I'm the only one in my family that likes kale, but I forgot to show you my sweet pea catastrophe. We got that going on. They are so rooted. I'm assuming we're gonna have some transplant shock from these guys, but they're going to be going in the greenhouse the next 7 days or so, hopefully. And this is our little experiment for our hydroponic grown tulips in our makeshift little doomer hickey here. So pretty happy with that. They're not doing too bad. Some of them are falling over because they are kind of getting heavy. So definitely have to consider that. But yeah, check it out. There's some mold on this one. But so far we haven't lost any to disease. We just have some that are molding because they had damage on them. But so far they might actually bloom. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you enjoyed the little weird tour that I gave you of my grow room. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye for now. forgot to tell you guys, I have baby fish. Surprise baby fish. You guys see, these are so cute. So this is my quarantine aquarium, and I had the adult fish in here for a month, and I pulled them out, never looked in here again. And the other day I went to make sure the filter was running because we had a power bump, and there was baby fish in here. They've been surviving without me. They're doing great. As long as I leave them alone, we should have adult baby surprise fish.